What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Boston's Banter, where the sports are wicked and the banter is Pissah. I'm your host, Frank the Bank. With me, as always, is Keith LaCava. What's going on, Marco Brolo?
Not much, Terrell Browns. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. 7th episode. It's been really fun so far. I mean, what do you think?
Let's keep it going.
Yeah, it's been great. I'm looking forward to the season starting and fantasy starting to really get into the episode.
Oh, right.
In the episode, it's going to be...
Yeah, once football season starts and fantasy gets going, like Frank said in the first episode, that's going to be the meat of our show. We can't wait. And by the way, less than 2 weeks, Patriots preseason starts. But before we get into that, let's get into some wicked Pissah news.
Wicked Pissah news.
Celtics re-signed another one of their core players. We got Sam Hauser, who is signing a 4-year, $45 million extension with the C's.
Let's go.
So, Sam Hauser, we've seen what he can do for us. You know what I called him? I called him the white Ray Allen of the team.
He was sniping.
Pure three-point shooter in that corner, bro.
I took him in the finals as like a real long shot to have the most threes. I think he finished like 3rd or 4th, but he was plus like 2,000 to have the most threes. But
Unbelievable.
He was on fire.
Oh, very accurate three-point shooter. He started out, man, he was undrafted out of the University of Virginia in 2021. He's basically been a Celtics development success story. He shot 42% from three last season. That was 4th best among players with 400-plus attempts. Now, I'm glad we have him back. Obviously, we like shooting the three like we've talked about. Him coming back, that just shows that they're not going to stray away from that game plan, Frank.
Oh, yeah, he's an animal. He's an animal.
Absolutely. But, the C's, they got their guy back. But let's head over to see how Team USA is doing. And LeBron, he's continuing his dominance at 39 years old. Now, I know it's not the official games yet. They're kind of doing the preliminary things. But he just went off against Germany again. Especially, like I said, 39 years old. This dude's putting up 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists for Team USA.
He's carried us.
LeBron is just unbelievable. And, they won that game 92-88. And he just shows no signs of slowing down at all.
No, he's been an animal. I mean, he saved us against South Sudan. That was insane. He saved us there, and he is. So I just saw the news that he is going to be the first first USA basketball player to be the flag bearer.
Saw that.
That's the Olympics in history. So that's really kind of cool. So he's going to be coming out for the ceremony, and be the flag bearer. I thought that was pretty neat.
Oh, that's really cool, man.
I mean, more NBA news. We talked a lot about the Knicks this year. Tom Thibodeau just re-signed for another 3 years, just kind of an extension for 3 years, So the Knicks doing a lot this offseason at this point.
They're keeping that team together. I mean, obviously bringing in Mikal Bridges with his homies he's got over there. But Tom Thibodeau, man, he's a 2-time coach of the year. He's been coaching in the NBA either as an assistant coach or a head coach for 30-plus seasons. So the guy knows basketball. And now with this core that he has with guys that have a lot of chemistry, I think it's going to be pretty good for the Knicks, but I don't want to see them do too good, obviously.
No, I know. But they do have a good team. And
yes,
the
they
Sixers,
do.
I mean, the East was, not anywhere near the West for a while. Now I feel like, obviously, minus the Celtics have been great for years. But
right.
The second, third, and fourth teams were nothing like the West. But now I feel like there's a couple real contenders besides just the Celtics.
Very competitive. You got the 76ers beefing up. You got, like we just talked about, the Knicks, the Bucks. They got Damian Lillard.
Bucks,
If Dame and Giannis could have stayed healthy, I felt like we would have seen them in the playoffs last year.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you saw the rookie in the G League on the Hornets. His name's Matt Morgan. He's been in the G League off and on for like 3 or 4 years. He's played in Europe a few times. The kid just set the Hornets record for G League, Summer League, whatever you want to call it, points. He scored 36 points. He did not miss a single shot.
Shot 100%?
100%. 7 for 7 from 3 points and 11
I didn't see it. How did I not see this?
I couldn't believe that when I saw that. He didn't miss a single shot. I thought it was a really cool story. He's really putting, an effort in to try to get with the team this year and not play overseas again.
Putting in an effort, 100%.
Oh, he's scored double
effort.
digits. Yeah, it's been crazy. Double digits in like 3 or 4 straight games. So
Wow.
I think this year someone's probably going to sign him. But, after that performance, that's insane. So
yeah, I'd say so.
We got some MLB news, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. We got some MLB news. We got Alex Cora, manager, skipper of the Red Sox. He agreed to a 3-year contract extension, which would pay him $7 million plus per year. Now, Alex Cora, he's won 3 championships, once as a player actually with the Red Sox, and twice as the manager, once with the Astros, once with the Red Sox. We all heard the debacle with the sign stealing thing. Him and the Red Sox actually mutually parted ways back in 2020, but after all that stuff subsided, he's back with us. He's on a 3-year extension, and I'm glad we got Alex Cora back. What do you think of that, Frank?
Me too. I think it's great. They've been playing above their pay grade or whatever you want to call it, above expectations. Until recently. They've lost 5 of 6. Right now, if the playoffs started today, they'd be out. Unfortunately, they're a game or 2 back in the wild card. They lost 20-7 to the Rockies. That's the most runs, tied the most runs the Rockies have ever scored in the game. And the Rockies are not a good team. So
I know that's
real tough, unfortunately. So we got the Yankees tonight. The series starts tonight. So we have the Yankees this weekend. So, I mean, if we can take 2 of 3 or sweep them, that would be great.
That would be great, man.
So just to beat them anyways, obviously.
Well, obviously, as Sox fans, we don't like the Yankees. We want to see them get beat, so.
Some more MLB stuff. Max Scherzer this week just cracked the top 10 in all-time career Ks. So
awesome.
He actually just jumped Verlander, who was on his team. So Verlander's still active, too, so they might flip-flop until...
Verlander, man, he's been in the league a long time.
But he's top 10 all-time in career Ks. And then Dylan Cease for the Padres just pitched the second no-hitter in San Diego's history this week. He was 1 out away from it last year, where he had 2 outs in the 9th and someone got a hit.
Oh,
so he actually got it now. So I thought that was kind of a cool story.
That's deflating, but that is actually a pretty cool story that he did it now. I mean, last year having 1 out away from it.
He had 2 outs in the 9th.
That's stuff you see in movies, bro.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool story. I mean, he kept begging to stay in too. He pitched like 118 pitches or something, so they didn't want to keep him in, but he's like, let me stay in.
Of course.
And sure enough, he got it. So that, good for him. Congrats.
And only the second, huh?
Yeah, I didn't feel like that was a lot. I know some teams have a lot more than that. So
that's surprising to me.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Well, let's move on to some NFL stuff. What do you got for me, Keith?
Michael Gallup. I'm sure some of you football fans, if you're diehard football fans, you may know who that is. He was with the Cowboys. He recently signed a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason for 1 year, $3 million. Now, Michael Gallup just retired at age 28. Not a lot of people are sure why, which a lot of people are calling a surprising move by him. But 28 years old, Frank, retiring. I mean, I thought he still had a lot left in the tank. He looked pretty good in Dallas.
We talked about him with Aiden O'Connell and
Jacoby Myers and the Raiders and all that.
Jacoby and everybody in the Raiders.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought he was a good fit for them. But, it was very surprising that he did that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming. But I'm going to be honest with you, Frank. Michael Gallup, I always thought he was pretty consistent, especially when he was in Dallas. I mean, the day before the Raiders even took their first day at training camp, he decided to do this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he's retired. Let's just, let's talk about his career stats real quick. The guy had 266 receptions, 3,744 yards, 21 touchdowns in his career. And that was all with Dallas. So, hey, man, congrats on your retirement. I still think you had some left in the tank. But, hey, man, 28 years old, he's retiring. That's not a bad little gig right there.
Not at all.
So moving on from one former Cowboys receiver to a current one, C.D. Lamb, arguably the best receiver in the league right now. He's holding out of camp, Frank. He wants a new deal.
There's a lot going on in Dallas, like there always is. Excuse me, but they're talking about Dak. They need to re-sign Dak.
Yep.
And now CD.
Yep.
And he's holding out. I mean, he was arguably the best receiver in the league last year. Had the most receptions.
Yeah.
So it's like, they need to figure it out.
They need to figure this out. I mean, Zeke's back with them, but let's face it, Zeke ain't the Zeke of old, so they got to focus on the guys that are getting them to the playoffs. I mean, coming off a phenomenal season, like you just said, he led the league in receptions, Frank. 135. He had 1,749 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Oh, he was an animal last year.
So, I mean, Cowboys, Jerry, I don't know what you're doing here, but especially if you're trying to get Bill Belichick next year, you better retain C.D. Lamb. I'm telling you that right now.
I mean, talking about holdouts, too, I got a couple holdouts.
There's a few in the NFL.
There's a lot going on right now. Trent Williams, one of the best, arguably the best, one of the best to ever do it. You know what I mean?
There's a highlight tape of his blocks, bro.
It's unbelievable on the offensive line, and, CMC running behind him in San Fran. And then obviously protecting Purdy. It's huge. So he's made 3 straight first-team All-Pros. He's made 11 straight Pro Bowls. Okay, so the man is an animal. He is getting paid. He's the 3rd highest paid tackle in the league currently. Right. He's at like $23 million, just over $23 million. And what's kind of even crazier, he's under contract till 2026.
I know.
So you don't usually see people hold out a couple of years before the contract.
He's definitely worthy, man, because like I was just saying, they make highlight tapes of this guy's blocks. All he's doing is consistently pancaking people. Like you said, he's opening up holes for Christian McCaffrey and everything. Standing at 6'5", 320, that dude is a necessity on the offensive line.
He's an animal, but I mean, I guess he just wants one more contract. I mean, he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things, though. I mean, you don't usually see 2 years before your contract. Usually the year before.
The year before, right.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. And then Hassan Reddick, who literally got traded last year from Philly to the Jets, has not reported, and he's looking for a new contract also. So, I mean, we talked about him. He was kind of one of my sleepers for possibly leading the league in sacks. So, I think the Jets need to sign him to have that elite defense.
Well, Hassan Reddick, Frank, I mean, he had 11 sacks last year with Philly, but I'm going to break this down real quick. At age 29, he already has 58 career sacks. And again, we're talking about necessities of guys who are holding out. I'd say the Jets need to get this guy signed and get him on the practice field and everything.
He's an animal, just an absolute.
Well, you know what else?
animal.
I just brought up 58 career sacks at 29 years old. You don't think he'd be a journeyman pass rusher? I mean, he was a first-round pick to the Cardinals in 2017. He's also spent time with the Panthers, like I just said, the Eagles. Now he's with the Jets. It's like, this guy's really good. Why is he getting shipped around the NFL?
I don't know. Maybe it's something in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? One more piece of NFL news I have here is Dolphins. They've signed Tua Tagovailoa to a 4-year, $212.4 million extension. That just happened today, a few hours ago.
Yeah, that was a couple hours ago.
He gets $167 million guaranteed, and now he's the third highest paid quarterback behind Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. What do you think of this move, Frank? I think it was really good the Dolphins locked him up.
I mean, they had to. I feel like, when he was out, they definitely were not the same
Struggling.
team. I mean? He's a good quarterback. It's just his health. I mean, I don't know how much of that's guaranteed, but it's like that's what's scary for him.
167 million.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's what's guaranteed. And like you said, his health. The guy has taken a few shots to the head. We've seen what's happened to him on the football field.
I know, yeah, that's what's scary because I mean he's had so many concussions.
But obviously with that bigger frame that he had, I mean this offseason so far, he's lost 25 pounds. So I feel like that has to do something with him trying to evade pass rushers. He's trying to get a little slimmer, get a little quicker. Mind you, that whole Miami offense, man, they're going to be super fast next season.
Oh, they're quick.
Especially if he just lost 25 pounds, the quarterback, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're getting concussed and getting knocked over, and now you're skinnier, you might get knocked over quicker.
Yeah, but hey, heavier falls, man. Bigger body, heavier falls.
Right.
So let's see how the Dolphins do with him. I mean,
I think it was a good move.
Yeah, definitely. He's got the rapport. All the guys. Tyreek Hill's happy. He already put out a tweet, all smiles and everything.
Yeah, of course. Tyreek doesn't want to ever leave Miami. He said he loves it.
Oh, yeah, he's retiring there.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Foxboro Focus. What do you got for me, Keith?
Foxboro Focus. So we are in training camp. Training camp has officially started, and we have 4 players who are already starting training camp on the PUP list. And for those who don't know what PUP means, that's physically unable to perform. And those players are wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, guard Cole Strange, guard/tackle Jake Andrews, and Sione Takitaki, the linebacker we just acquired from the Cleveland Browns. So all those guys, they're not going to be starting right away in training camp. They're going to have to progressively work their way back in there from injuries they've sustained. Kendrick Bourne, now, before he got hurt last year, he suffered that torn ACL. He was our leading receiver. Now, he had 37 receptions, 406 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And I'm glad that he is coming back. I just say we take it easy with him. We have a lot of young talent at receiver this year. So I say work him in, but just don't rush him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was really good for us last year. But we do have a ton of young talent. That's what I'm looking forward to the most, to see some of these wideouts, honestly.
And, I'm glad that we almost didn't bring him back, too. He was a free agent. We re-signed him.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that.
And like with the other guys, Cole Strange, I honestly feel like Cole Strange, and we drafted him in the first round a few years ago. I thought that was a reach.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen him do good things, but I've just seen a lot of injuries with all this, and I'm hoping he can get it together so it doesn't look like another draft pick, like a draft pick bust for us.
Yeah, another bust, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with all that.
I did see that Mayo came out and said that Brissett's the front runner for the starting job right now.
Mm-hmm.
He did kind of leave the door open for Drake May. He said that if Drake May goes out there and lights it up, then he could absolutely see him starting.
Yep.
So, I mean, Vegas right now has, for game 1, Jacoby at minus 300 for the starter.
Right.
And they have Drake May as a plus 210 for week 1. So, I mean, depending on what happens in the preseason, if Drake May goes out there and lights it up, according to Mayo, then he has a shot. So,
well, yeah. I mean, Brissett, we all know he's the most pro-ready. Word for word is what Mayo said about Brissett. He's the most pro-ready quarterback.
Yep.
He started 48 career games through a bunch of different teams and everything.
Yeah.
This is his second tenure with us. So, obviously, Mayo, he's going to lean towards Brissett being the veteran. But like he said, Drake May's lighting it up. Let's put the young kid in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll see. The only other thing I saw, which is kind of a bad thing, is that Vegas has the Patriots as the favorites to have the worst record in the NFL.
I don't like to hear that,
man. So we're number 1 to have the worst record in the NFL per Vegas odds right now. So don't like that.
Nope.
Let's hopefully get past that.
So, I mean, that is some rough news, but I do got some good news today, also breaking news. The Patriots have extended safety Jabrill Peppers to a 3-year, $24 million deal, which could also get up to $30 million with incentives. Now, last year, Jabrill Peppers, I mean, the first year we had him didn't really show too much highlights. We've seen what he could do on other teams.
Yep.
But, man, he came on last year. 78 combined tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and some of the hits he was putting on guys.
I
remember one of the guys he hit, I think it was against the I think it was against the Giants. He stuck the no. It was against the Raiders. It was Devontae Adams. Stuck him. The ball popped up, and then Jelani Tavai picked it off.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the hardest hits I saw last year. I'm glad we brought him back.
Yeah,
I like Jabrill Peppers. He's a very versatile player. Can play safety. He can play corner. He can play in the nickel. He can play linebacker, man.
Stacked either way.
Yes, sir.
You know that.
First round pick out of Michigan in 2017, so I'm glad we definitely retained him. And then one more piece of news for the Patriots, tackle Michael Onwenu. He's actually making a little surprising quote-unquote move to right guard.
Yeah,
and I believe the reasoning for that, and he even said it was a little surprising, but the reasoning behind that I think is because of the Cole Strange injury.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it was just weird to see them give him a good contract, a big contract.
3 years, $57 million.
It was a lot of money.
Right.
And to move positions, he was like, it's a little surprising. I mean, he can do it, and but
He's played guard before.
Yeah, but it's just kind of strange to me too.
It is, but we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's training camp. They're working everything out, putting people where they think they can put them and all that. So
yeah. Well, in Mayo, we trust. We used to be in Bill, we trust.
In
Now
Mayo, we trust. So
let's not get the worst record this year.
Yes, sir.
So moving on, let's do the lava round. So with fantasy drafts coming up very soon, the next 4 weeks of our show, we're going to basically be analyzing the top 20 players from each position. So this week we're going to start with running backs. So I'm going to give you the top. I'm going to go top 10 and then 11 through 20
Awesome.
of what ESPN has for rankings, and then you can kind of give me what you think is your top 10, top 20, etc. And then I'll do the same on my end. So
Yes, sir.
why don't we start off with the top 10? So ESPN has CMC number 1 for running back, Breece Hall number 2, Bijan 3, Jonathan Taylor 4, Barkley 5th, Jahmyr Gibbs 6, Kyren Williams at 7, Isaiah Pacheco at 8, and then Travis Etienne 9, Derrick Henry at 10.
So that seems pretty accurate. There's a few people I would move around in that top 10. Obviously, CMC's number 1, Mr. All-Purpose for the
that's a fact
49ers.
right
That's
there.
a fact. Breece Hall and Bijan, I think they could flip-flop, but again, I think that's pretty spot on. Now, with Jonathan Taylor at 4, Frank, I got a problem with that. I love JT, too. I mean, he's 2 years removed from his 1,800-yard rushing season, 18 touchdowns.
I took him number 1 overall next year.
I think I did. I think I had him in your league that year.
And I had him in yours.
So Jonathan Taylor, man, good running back, but I think number 4 should be Kyren Williams.
I have Kyren going in the top 5 too. I mean, it's JT or if Bijan. There's a lot of talk about Bijan this year, but I think Bijan is an animal. But if they don't give him the ball and Algier gets a lot of carries, then it's going to be a problem for him to crack the top 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of like it's either one of them two coming out, and I like Kyren jumping up there too, honestly.
I mean, I'll be honest, with Kyren Williams, what he did last year, it was almost 1,200 rushing yards, and I think, 12 touchdowns, and also 3 receiving touchdowns. Yeah, I think that guy should be in the top 5.
Yeah, he was in one of him or CMC were 1-2 in touches
Yeah.
for running backs. So, I mean, he played a ton. So
Right.
that's really what makes him, to me, jump up a little bit more. The only other guy that really in the top, I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I think this kid could lead the league in rushing if they didn't have David Montgomery.
I was going to say, yeah,
so that's
him
the
at
thing.
6.
Him at 6 seems it's a big risk. I mean, if they give him the ball, which they should be doing, you know what I
Right.
mean? More, it's just. But when you have Montgomery there and you're trying to preserve him, I understand what you're doing. But to me, it's like he looks like he could be an absolute animal.
Right.
Every time he touched the ball, it seemed like he was just gone.
Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs, I tried to draft him last year in both leagues, never
I
got the
drafted him
chance.
in your league, and he was
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah,
he just
11
did
total
not-
touchdowns.
But he just didn't get the touches.
No, he didn't, because like you said, David Montgomery, and when David Montgomery was on, he was on, and
He
obviously
scored a ton of touchdowns, too.
Yes, he did. So that's why I'm saying him at 6. I mean, I'm not going to take him out of the top 10. I think 6 is a little high for him, though.
Yeah, that's me too. My thoughts exactly. So we'll go to the next 10. So Kamara, Rashad White, Mixon, Cook, Josh Jacobs, Devin Achane, Ken Walker, Aaron Jones, Ramondre. Let me give some
Yay.
Ramondre at 19, and then they have James Conner at 20. So do you have any differences or any thoughts or concerns with any of these guys?
Yes, sir, actually. So number 11, Alvin Kamara, I think he's too high in my opinion. I'll be honest. I honestly think that also Devon Achane shouldn't even be in the top 20. I like Achane. I think he's a very explosive running back, and he's got a lot of potential. We saw him play in only 11 games last season. He had that huge 55-point fantasy game right after I dropped him, unfortunately, because he didn't do nothing in fantasy. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I know you did. But I want to put Raheem Mostert in 16, the guy that had 21 total touchdowns last season for Miami. I mean, how is he getting ignored? And he just got extended by Miami as well.
I don't know. I mean, that's another. to me, A-Chain could be one of the best in the NFL, but you have Mostert,
Right.
who's also extremely good.
Like, were they just not going to hand the ball off to Mostert?
There's a few teams that have that problem where there's multiple running backs that are animals. So
Right.
it's like, do you waste a first round or a second round pick on a guy like this? I don't know.
And I also think that James Cook, who's at 14, should be at 11.
James Cook could jump up. I mean, he played great for me last year. I had him in every league I was in. I drafted him in every single league. So, I mean, I thought he was great for me last year. They just lost their best wide receiver
right.
and their second best wide receiver.
Right.
So, I mean, this kid's going to see more targets and should have more rushes. He could have a great year.
He still had over 1,100 rushing yards last year.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Kamara. I think Kamara had an off year last year.
I'm not going to take anything away from him.
Yeah, I like Kamara. A-Chain, again, we talked about. I'm not a huge fan of like them in the top 20 because of Mostert being there. So one of them is going to vulture the other stuff every week. So it's really a tough start.
It's almost like with A-Chain. It's almost like that 233 all-purpose yard game where he had 4 touchdowns against the Broncos. It's almost like that boosted his stock for the next fantasy season. You know what I mean?
But he touches the ball and he
does.
like Jameer. He's gone. It's like. But if he's not playing, or if he's like can't run between the tackles, and
and he's also missed some games due to injuries.
Yeah.
And we talk about Madden speeds a lot. I mean, they got him at a 97 speed, Frank. So
he's so fast.
Just like Jameson, man. They're making sure they show that he's fast.
What do you think of like Josh Jacobs on a new team, Mixon on a new team, Aaron Jones on a new team? They're all in the top 20. They're all on new teams this year. Like, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'm fine with Josh Jacobs. I actually meant this. I'm fine with Josh Jacobs. I'm not fine where Aaron Jones is, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think he should be out of the top 20, and I like DeAndre Swift.
I have DeAndre Swift in my top 22. He's at 22 for the ranking right now, just to give you guys an idea. They have James Conner at 20. I mean, he's another one they drafted a running back. I mean, to me, he could fall. I mean, A-Chain could fall. Any of these guys.
So I like DeAndre Swift at the 18th ranked best running back this year, Frank. His potential impact in this Bears' new offensive scheme will take the pressure off rookie quarterback Caleb Williams.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Seeing what he did last year, especially with Philly, his role on the team just goes above rushing, dude. He does everything. Receiving out of the backfield, he's going to help that team out a lot. So I think you can put him at 18. And also, hate to say it, do like James Conner, but I want to take him out of 20th, and you're actually going to be surprised by who I think could surpass him. Who? Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks is going to get a lot of playing time.
One analyst actually had him ranked 19th out of all those rankings.
Wow, yeah, no, I mean, the rookie from Carolina, he Chuba, good catching back. He's not a 4-down back. He's just not a 3-down back, 4-down back, whatever you want to call it.
And Miles Sanders is not the Miles Sanders from Philly 2 years ago.
I mean, the only thing that may hold Brooks up for a little bit is that he's still not ready to practice. I'm not ready for training camp. So,
but I feel like he's one of those guys. It can be a surprise.
He can block. He's fast. He can catch. I mean, those are the 3 things you want with a 3-down, 4-down back.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I mean, a couple other notables that for rankings: Najee Harris is 28th overall, Austin Eckler at 31, Tony Pollard at 32, and then Nick Chubb at 35. So
I still think that's crazy. Pollard's so low. He's back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher.
Well, I think what we talked a lot about was Tajay Spears, and I actually read something that the coach was just like, they're going to be interchangeable. So the way they play, they're very similar. He said whoever has the hot hand. So that's, again, it's a risk to take Pollard and then have Tajay sitting there.
The handcuff. You could do that as well.
It's just they're both going to play a lot. He won't even name a starter yet. So
that's interesting. I didn't know that. And you do bring up a good point with Tajay Spears. I mean, the guy is a rookie with Derrick Henry that had over 50 catches last year as a rookie running back.
He was great. I mean, you didn't really even have to go out and sign Tony Pollard, really. You could have just found a running back like an Algier or somebody that you could give it on first or second down in the goal line back, and then let this kid come in and just do his thing. You know what I mean?
Man, I'll be honest. The Titans GM, dude, we've talked about him many times. They assembled a good team there.
Oh, no, I like Pollard a lot. I mean, Spears and Pollard together are going to be very good. But there's like 10 teams that just have 2 great running backs that one week it's going to be the other one, the one week's going to be yours, and it's just one of those things you might want to stay away from.
Well, that's why I like the DeAndre Swift moving up, because on that depth chart, other than him, who do they have? Khalil Herbert, injury-prone, and Roshan Johnson, rookie last year, who was also injury-prone.
Actually, he looked good the few times he actually got a chance.
But
he's not. DeAndre Swift was, 5th in the league in rushing yards last year?
Yeah, 1,049 rush yards.
He was very good last year. I do think that that was a great signing by them, honestly. And I think if he stays healthy, he's an animal too.
That's
he
what I'm
started
saying.
with Detroit. He was great with Detroit when he was healthy.
Yes, I had him with Detroit a few years.
Yeah, so As Najee, I mean, he's fallen back, and they're talking about Jalen Warren again.
Jalen Warren's a dog, bro.
He played a lot last year. Again, another, one guy's got 55% of the touches, one guy's got 45%. It's
right.
But there's a lot of talk about Jalen killing it in training camp again this year.
Especially if they start Justin Fields. He's going to be running a lot, too.
They got, Austin Eckler's on a new team. He's 31st, but you have Brian Robinson, who tore it up last year.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's a lot of 1-2 punches this year. Well, I mean, it's like Ramondre and Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson was in the top 30 when I saw that full list.
And Nick Chubb coming back from that awful injury, and he's on the PUP list right now. So that was
every time I hear that, man, it just
So, but yeah, I mean, that's running back wise. I mean, that's what we got this week. I think next week we'll probably hit wide receivers, and
looking forward to that.
So that's pretty much all we got this week. Any good movies coming out this week, Keith?
Actually, yeah, Frank. Deadpool and Wolverine just came out today. You thinking about going to see that?
Nah, bro. Nah, that's for nerds.
That's for nerds. You know what, Frank? Honestly, I feel the same.
Of course I'm going to see that movie, and I know you're going to see it too.
Yeah, I'm going to see that movie. Of course. You're a nerd if you don't go see it, so.
That's right. From Titletown to your town, stay wicked, Pissah.
From the TD garden to your garden, thanks for listening.